There's a fire in Fea's eyes. There always is, but this time it worries Anna. Like many times before, she contemplates reaching out to her twin. A calming touch could do a world of good, but instead, Anna falls back into herself, good intentions swallowed up in doubt. Air breaks fast against Anna's forehead, and she squeezes Hope tight. Fea had instructed her to hold on to the baby, as they'd be flying faster than usual. Anna had no idea the flying spaghetti monster could reach speeds that made the world around her blur. Looking over the edge of the sinewy beast treats her to the sight of the ocean, with an occasional island here and there. Anna's further from her home than she's ever been, yet she doesn't feel the least bit lost. Hope's sharp scream snaps Anna to attention. Anna tries comforting Hope by bringing her closer, but her tears just won't stop. "You should hold her," Anna whispers. "You're better with her." Fea doesn't respond. Anna looks over and finds Fea's feathers stiffening out and getting so sharp that they glint in the moonlight. Anna suspects Fea's anger must be affecting Hope. Sure enough, Anna finds that red had begun to overtake the hazel in Hope's irises.
"Fea, you have to calm down,"
Anna speaks up.
"I'm not asking for me, it's for Hope." "Quiet!"
Fea's voice cuts her off. Anna glances up. Still, Fea's feathers grow sharper. Now Anna's own feathers are shaking, no doubt spurred on by Fea's temperament. Between Hope's unending wails, the harsh winds, the thin air, and Fea's attitude, Anna can't help but scowl.
"No,"
Anna says.
What?
Fea responds.
"I won't be quiet."
So you suddenly grown a backbone?
"No, I don't know. I don't care about that. I just care about Hope. And you should too. Don't you understand that your mood affects her?"
So?
"So? Can't you see how bad that is? Do you want to screw her up?"
Screw her up?
Fea says while looking back.
Like your friend screwed you up?
Anna bites her bottom lip. Hard enough to taste ichor. So she spits.
"Always attacking someone else. I don't want Hope to be like you."
So you've got a say in how Hope turns out?
Fea asks as she faces forward.
Doesn't matter, so long as she worships me.
"Do you really mean that?"
Anna asks, hoping Fea was lying. No answer comes. They just soar through the sky with Hope crying all the while. Then, when Anna feels like screaming, Fea speaks.
We're here.
Anna looks over FSM and sees a domain in the form of a small town, or at least what was once a town. The land around the town seems to be in much better condition, as the plot beneath them is little more than scorched earth with a few ash-covered buildings here and there. There's no vegetation for miles, so this place doesn't seem the least bit habitable. But this is one of Fea's domains, no doubt about it. Anna knows because of the feathers covering just about every inch of the ground, though they seem a bit different from usual. Instead of laying flat, the feathers are stabbed into the ground and stand straight up, pointed towards the sky. By the time Anna looks away, Fea is up and ready to leap down.
Fly to a higher altitude and circle the area,
Fea says. Fea plucks a feather and tosses it towards Hope. The feather lands on Hope's stomach, and there's a small flash before coating the infant in a light blue cocoon of energy.
There.
Fea says.
Now you don't have to worry about her breathing, so take her as high as you can. As for you?
Fea looks at Anna, and as much as she wants to turn away, she doesn't.
Don't follow me.
Once the last word rolls off her tongue, Fea falls back first, off FSM. Who does she think she is? Always mocking Anna's friends, always telling Anna what to do. Anna sits Hope down and wraps some of FSM's noodles around her for protection. Anna stares down at the infant, and a thought briefly runs through her mind. Take her. Another more curious thought tramples the former. Why has Fea been so irritable as of late? It could just be because one of her domains was invaded. But having gotten a look at it herself, Anna can't see the value in a place like this. Even though Fea told her to stay put, Anna decides to get a better look. Besides, it isn't like Anna swore fealty to Fea. She didn't have to listen to her. Anna leaps down after Fea. The closer Anna draws to the ground, the more feathers spread out along her arms. At the right time, Anna throws her arms out and slows her descent with several flaps of her wings. She lands beside Fea, behind a singed stone house.
You.
Fea whispers and glares at Anna. Before words could even form in Anna's head, Fea presses a finger against her lips. Fea presents Anna with a feather. Anna touches the feather and feels a jolt. Then she no longer sees Fea. All at once, the town fills Anna's vision. Every angle, every nook and cranny, every little imperfection that Fea wanted to protect sprouted up around Anna. This must be what Fea's feathers could see. The panoramic view of the domain clued Anna into who they were hiding from. Two intruders stalk through old houses, over rusted fences, and beneath eroded bridges. A short boy with long black hair held up in a ponytail wears a white robe with a red scarf. Walking beside him is a beautiful red-headed woman with ears like a fox and 9 accompanying tails swaying behind her. They seem to be speaking, but Anna can't quite understand them. Anna's vision returns to normal, and she hasn't the chance to ask Fea what happened before Fea tucks that same feather behind one of Anna's ears.
It's a different language.
Fea explains.
With that, you'll understand them. Now quiet. They're close.
Sus-kun, can't we go somewhere a bit more romantic?
Asks the woman from around the corner.
And abandon our post? No way.
Says the boy in close proximity.
This isn't how I wanted to spend my day off, you know.
We're an army now. Last I checked, soldiers don't get days off.
The voices draw closer.
It sounds so weird being called that.
She says with a laugh.
Well, at least there's a silver lining to all this. I get to spend the day with you.
Yeah.
He coughs his response.
I mean it. I'm really happy that it's just the two of us.
Say, do you think she's found the stone yet? I figured it'd be easy to spot considering how little there is here.
Still, the voices draw closer.
Did you just ignore me?
Nope. Pretty sure I've been talking to you this whole time.
Sure, but you just changed the subject.
From what?
Us!
What about us?
How we're together?
Yeah, we're together, out here doing our jobs. Is that a problem, Maya-chan?
At last, the voices are here.
I don't know. At least have the decency to look me in the eyes when you reject me.
Says the girl as she turns the corner. The first thing Anna sees is the girl's large, puffy foxtail. Soon, it's followed by several others, and then the long pink fabric of her sleeves. As Anna makes eye contact with the girl, Fea lunges, a feather in hand. Anna hadn't even realized how prepared Fea was to attack. The flicker that was Fea meets a flash, and they both come to a stop in front of the 9-tailed fox. Fea is face to face with the boy. Their weapons clashed in a stalemate. Fea's sharpened feather against this boy's long, thin sword. They struggle there for all of a moment before he steps forward, and Fea's feather snaps from the pressure. The sword would have cut through Fea had she not broken down into a black sea of feathers and escaped. The feathers pool beside Anna and reform into Fea. The boy steps back and sheathes his weapon. Now Anna can see that he's carrying not one sword, but 2, one strapped to each hip.
Are you all right, Maya-chan?
The boy asks in such a light voice, it's almost hard to think he's just crossed blades with Fea.
What?
The fox, May, replies. She looks around, and once she realizes what's happened, she steps behind the boy.
Sus-kun, you saved me.
Oh, come on. Don't sound so surprised.
He says, sighing. Wasting no time, Fea attacks again. She leaps and plucks 2 feathers from her collar, sharpens them into knives in an instant, and slashes at the boy. In one motion, Sus not only pushes May further behind him, but draws the same sword from earlier and parries both of Fea's swipes. Their weapons clash in rapid succession. Each time, Fea's feathers give way beneath Sus's sword, leaving her to pluck more and start the process all over again. At least a dozen feathers fall the same way before Fea leaps back and fires some sort of desperation attack. Multiple feathers sharpen to fine points and rocket from her collar, all aimed at Sus. So many attacks blast towards the boy that Anna loses count, but Sus manages to deflect each and every one. When he cuts through the last feather, he looks back and asks May,
You okay?
He speaks so calmly, like he isn't the least bit worried about Fea. And Anna doesn't have to look at Fea to know how angry that must make her.
Ooh! I can't handle how cool you are.
May says as she wraps her arms around the boy and nuzzles into the nape of his neck.
Come on! Ugh, not while I'm fighting. It's dangerous.
Sus says.
Leave!
Fea says, interrupting their moment.
So I take it you're the original tenant. While I can't honestly say I understand what anyone sees in a domain like this, I can't abandon my post.
He sheathes his sword.
I won't leave this place until my queen has taken this land for herself.
As much as Anna hates it, she stays in the shadows this time. After her last interaction with some of Fea's enemies, she thought it might be best to give the girl space to work. Like everyone else they've met, these people don't seem all bad. Anna is sure this boy's queen has her reasons, but so does Fea, even if Anna admits she doesn't quite understand them yet.
Loyalty like yours is hard to come by these days.
Fea says.
Swear fealty to me. You and your pet there. If you do, I'll consider sparing your queen.
Excuse me?
Sus says, tilting his head.
Yeah!
May shouts.
Well, I'm not his pet. I'm his...
Don't care.
Fea cuts her off.
I made myself clear. Swear fealty now. The queen you'll follow from this day onwards is Morrigan.
This is off. This isn't right. Anna's seen this kind of setup before, but something is different. It's one thing for Fea to strike fear in her enemy, but why was Anna so afraid right now? She can't stop shaking.
Morrigan?
Sus questions while resting a hand on his sword, ready to draw it at a moment's notice.
If that's the case, then I definitely won't step aside or stand down.
I hate this.
Fea whispers.
But what's two more, right?
Fea's feathers shuffle, and the meaty sound of something tearing hits Anna's ears. The sight of viscous red fluid causes Anna's eyes to widen. May tore into Sus's neck with a wolfish bite. Sus's words sound stuffy, like he's underwater. His movements are so much slower than before. As he tries to pull away from May, she just bites down harder and tears at his arms with her claws. A gust of wind builds around the two before a burst of concentrated air breaks them apart. May crouches on all fours and uses her nails to stop herself from skidding back. When she snarls at Sus, Anna can see that her eyes are glowing red. May charges Sus, and he pivots around her. She twirls her body and leaps, and he rolls underneath her. This goes on and on until Fea scoffs.
Defend yourself!
Fea speaks, and Sus glares at her.
Fight back!
Once more, May rushes Sus, but he holds up his hand and a wind catches her. She's stopped in her tracks, held there in some sort of concentrated typhoon.
So, when you figured you couldn't win on your own,
Sus says before pausing to spit up some ichor.
you decided to use her against me. You really are as twisted as the stories say. You deserve everything you have coming your way. I'm happy to know my queen is going to rip every shred of power from you!
Here, I'll help you draw your sword.
Fea says as the trembling in her feathers quickens. Red starts to overtake Sus's vision, and his hand reaches for the hilt. It stops there, however. The boy, trembling with pain, manages to hold May in his wind trap and not give in to Fea's influence.
Trying to resist, huh?
Fea stomps towards him, her feathers dancing like mad.
You might have had a chance, but this is my domain, and you'll pay for thinking otherwise.
Sus trembles. The red glow of his eyes grows, and he grabs his weapon. Still, it doesn't leave its sheath. May crawls forward as the winds holding her in place ebb away. No more. She couldn't stand another second of this. Anna tackles Fea to the ground.
What are you?
Thea writhes beneath Anna, but the girl pushes down with all her weight.
Run! You and your friend can still make it out of here alive!
Anna shouts, hoping they will listen as she summons more strength to hold on to Thea. As a result of Thea's attention being shifted elsewhere, the red in Seuss's eyes lessens, and May gradually becomes less bestial.
Sus?
May questions as she blinks the blood coloring from her eyes and looks around the battlefield. Once her eyes fall on Seuss, her shoulders sink and face pales. The look only worsens when she licks her lips and looks at her hands.
Mai-chan, you're okay. I'm glad.
The smiling samurai falls to his knees. When Susano'o collapses, Anna gets a good look at his wounds. The torn flesh is purple and peeling back as though heavily infected. Anna wasn't the only one to see this, as it garners a reaction from May. The fox cries out and crawls over to the boy. She screams.
My poison! I didn't... Why?
They aren't escaping. Why aren't they escaping? Focusing on the two costs Anna her leverage, and it isn't until she feels Thea push up that Anna realizes she's fallen over. Thea throws a feather that stabs the ground between May and Seuss, preventing her from reaching him. Thea takes a step in their direction, but Anna grabs her wrist, stopping her.
Let them go, Thea, please!
Anna cries, hoping the fox would get the hint and run away.
Not yet!
Thea shouts.
I won't let them go! Not until they...
Thea stops and her eyes go wide. A droplet of water hits Anna, then another, and several more. It didn't seem like it was going to rain, and even if it did, Thea shouldn't seem so startled by it. This is her domain, so she should know what the weather would be like far in advance. In fact, she should have control over it. But Thea too stares up at the sky with a bewildered expression as the rain falls. Anna hears laughing and looks over to see Seuss shifting about. He turns over and smiles at them.
Sorry for not taking her seriously sooner.
Says Seuss.
It's kinda hard to split my attention like that. Conjuring a storm takes a lot of concentration, you know?
What?
Thea asks for both Anna and herself.
It's quite all right.
An elegant new voice sounds out from all around and adds to the confusion.
I wasn't making much progress on my own anyway.
The rain parts before them, cascading over something that's invisible. The water takes a shape, feminine and tall. Soon that shape gains color and physical form. Before them is a woman they hadn't seen before. She's beautiful, with long black hair, scales like a snake, and sharpened horns. A large draconic tail protrudes from behind her, and she takes 2 steps forward on feet that are clawed, much like their own.
Her grasp on this domain is tighter than I thought.
She says, eyes locked with Thea. As though paralyzed by surprise, or maybe fear, Thea doesn't move. She doesn't even flinch as the woman draws a weapon from her side, the handle of a sword, but with no blade to accompany it. Thea stares up at the hilt and the woman with the cold eyes who wields it.
Tamamo,
She speaks.
Yes, Orohime.
May says,
get Susanoo-san to safety. Isun-san will tend to his wounds. I'll finish up here.
May does as told, and hoists Seuss over her shoulder. The fox girl turns to leave when Thea springs forward and shouts out to them.
Hey!
Thea's words end in a surprised and pained grunt. The rain was cold, but that wasn't what left goosebumps on Anna's skin. The sight of crimson leaking from her twin's back forms a knot in her stomach. Anna had seen Thea hit before, hurt before, but never injured like this. The wound in Thea's back went straight through and out her chest towards the woman, Orohime's bladeless handle. Whipping her arm to the side caused Thea to scream out as a massive gash formed across her chest.
He managed to resist you, didn't he?
Otohime thrusts the hand grip in Thea's direction. This time Thea reacts, rolling out of the way and hurling a couple feathers in retaliation. In that brief exchange, Anna saw it. A blur of silver as Orohime's sword appeared, then disappeared in a second's time. Thea's feathers never hit their mark, and bounce off Orohime's body as though she were wearing armor.
Tell me,
Orohime says.
he isn't the first, is he? Your powers have limits.
Feia throws multiple feathers at Orohime while running a circle around her. Not a single feather pierces Orohime's flesh or cuts her clothing.
I had my suspicions, but this would confirm it.
Orohime slashes at Feia, and no matter the distance, the attacks connect.
You aren't really the Phantom Queen, are you?
Annie,
Feia screams.
get out of here! Now!
More feathers were thrown and deflected in a span of seconds than Anna could comprehend. Was Feia crazy? Leave? There was no way Anna would leave her alone. FSM was close by. The two of them should just escape.
Not without you!
Anna shouts.
Again with that shit!
Feia snarls.
Stop acting like you're brave all of a sudden. You're a coward. You run away all the time. So get the hell out of here already.
Does this place hold some sort of sentimental value to you?
Orohime asks.
That doesn't sound like the Morrigan from the stories at all.
Orohime is right. Feia didn't seem to care about much at all, yet here she is, fighting for this place. Sure, it was her domain, but she had others. Wasn't there more value in living to fight another day? Orohime plunges her weapon at Feia. It hits, and Feia explodes into a series of feathers to escape. She doesn't make it very far, and ends up reforming right in front of Orohime, with dozens of more wounds scattered all over her body. Each bleeding spot on her is the size of a pinhole. Anna can see Feia's flesh healing, but it isn't fast enough. More holes just keep forming. The rain, Anna says under her breath. Realizing what it had to be, Anna calls out to Feia.
It's the rain! Feia, you have to get out of the rain!
No shit!
Feia grunts and rolls onto her side. Despite the sheer amount of new wounds opening on her body, Feia manages to throw both her arms up. Every feather that made up Feia's collar shifted to her hands and formed a shield of sorts above the girl. This was the first time Anna could see Feia's shoulders and noticed that aside from the freckles, there were burn marks.
If you aren't gonna leave, at least be useful,
Feia says.
Right, anything. I'll do anything.
Anna responds.
You have to get angry at me. Come on. Like earlier. I know how you felt. What you wanted to say.
Feia's words shock Anna. The knot from earlier tightens. Anna's feathers shake and she feels something lock in her chest.
You hate me.
Feia smiles at Anna.
It's okay. You aren't the only one who feels that way. You aren't the only one who hates me so much they'd wish I'd die. So please.
Was it the rain or were Feia's eyes watering? A lot of people might think Feia is the worst, an absolute monster. Anna would be hard-pressed to argue with them. But right here, at this moment, Anna feels like they're one and the same. Anna is sure Feia hates her just as much, especially when she doesn't listen. Anna rushes to Feia's side and gets in between her and the dragoness.
Idiots! Don't!
Shut up! Shut up.
Anna looks back at Feia.
Let me do this.
Anna looks to Orohime, hoping she could reason with her as she has with so many others.
I'm sorry.
Anna whispers.
I understand that you're angry and want to hurt her. But please consider that she's scared too. As afraid as you and everyone else is of her. Morrigan did horrible, horrible things. I'm sure she's hurt someone precious to you. You're probably right to want revenge. But don't take it out on Feia. Please. She isn't Morrigan. She isn't the Phantom Queen.
Anna gets down on her knees.
I don't understand the world. It's been this way ever since I could remember, and I still don't understand it at all. I ask stupid questions like, why can't everyone be happy? Why isn't there enough prayer or divinity or orison or whatever to go around? Somewhere, someone is suffering right now because they don't have enough, and others want to take what little they have left.
Everyone is horrible in the eyes of someone else. So, you have your reasons for wanting this domain. You might even need it. But I'm begging you, please don't take this from her. Anna lowers her head to the ground.
Annie, don't!
Anna hears Feya but refuses to listen. Anna doesn't speak again until her forehead touches the muddy ground. I know it won't make up for your troubles, but if you please leave this domain alone, I'll swear fealty to you.
Annie.
Feya falls silent after that. I don't know what the value of this place is, but I'm sure it's worth more to Feya than I am. The rain rages on, and Otohime just sighs. Then, all at once, Anna feels pain coursing through the entire right side of her body. One swing of Otohime's tail was all it took to send Anna flying back. Anna crashes and flounders to a stop in the mud, unable to get up.
How many people have shown you mercy because you're children?
The woman asks, waving her hand. The rain stops pouring and instead pools together, forming a giant sphere of liquid.
How many have you denied mercy?
Otohime glares at Feya.
I'm smarter than others. I understand the enemy can come in any shape and size. Your age doesn't change your accountability. You're a conqueror. So for you, this is a fitting end.
The woman's water ball cracks like an egg and outpours an ocean of knives. Anna knows it'll hurt, even if she can't feel most of her body as it is. Anna wonders if she's afraid. If so, then of what? Was she afraid it would be painful, or maybe of what comes next? Was Anna even afraid of dying? She hadn't really thought about it before. But when she considers everything, the idea doesn't bother her all that much. Maybe that's what she's afraid of. The pain of the flood doesn't come. Instead, the softness of feathers surrounds her and keeps her safe. With each second that passes, a layer of feathers peels away. Anna holds onto her arm as she sits up and looks around to see feathers floating throughout the domain. It's surprising that the feathers were not just around her, but around the structures, and even the other weird feathers that were stabbed into the ground. Everything was preserved and unmoved after the woman's massive attack. As magical as that was, there was something that bothered Anna. She saw the charred structures, and the feathers in the ground, and Otohime, but she didn't see Feya. It's brief, like many things, but it's still a scary thought. Suddenly, Anna's aware of a weight pressing against her head, shoulders, and back. She looks over, and there Feya is, bruised and bleeding far more than ever before, but alive. Anna reaches up behind her ear and notices the feather Feya tucked back there from earlier was gone.
I told you to run, idiot!
Anna gets to her feet, and Otohime is already charging. Unable to fight on her own, Anna screams out at the top of her lungs. Dinner's done, boy! We're having spaghetti! Bon appetit! A massive tendril slams into the ground, walling Anna and Feya off from their attacker. Another tentacle falls beside them, and Anna climbs onto it. Once she's situated Feya beside Hope and gotten herself strapped in, Anna commands FSM once more. The next minute they're in the air, and a minute after that they're miles away from Feya's domain. Anna checks Feya to see just how bad her injuries are. Some of them are healing, but not as fast as usual. What's worse is that Feya's molting. If this keeps up, Feya's shoulders would be bare before daybreak. Anna doesn't know why, but this scares her. As though she knows what'll happen when Feya's shed her last feather. Instead of thinking further on this, Anna gets up and walks over to Hope. She takes the sleeping baby and walks her to Feya. Anna raises Feya's arm and slips Hope beneath it. She ties a noodle around them and returns to the pilot spot atop FSM's head. Without a destination in mind, Anna takes the reins and sets a path.